Do you remember that building you went to for a campus tour before you became a student of the University of Kentucky? Well, that building was called the main building, one of the first buildings you see for a tour. This building, an historic looking building, has been newly updated in the last couple of years. They tried keeping the historic look to the building when they remodeled it. Keep on listening to learn more. My name is Mohammad Shalash, and welcome to the Big Blue Podcast. The main building is really special and is located on the University of Kentucky's campus in Lexington, Kentucky. The main building is home to the president's office, classrooms, conference rooms, and visitor center, and being one of the oldest buildings on campus. This is important because college students should know how very important the main building is and how useful it can be in their future. I will be interviewing Mr. Andrew Fass. He currently works in McVeigh Hall, also located on the University of Kentucky's campus. He is a sophomore counselor and a leader for Center for Academic Resources and Enrichment Services, also known as CARES. He earned a bachelor's degree in both German and international business from Georgetown College in 2004. He later came to the University of Kentucky to get a master's degree in education. His goal in life is to lead students to excellent resources. What are your experiences with the main building?
I use the main building more than most of my colleagues. The reason I use it is because it's a very neat, interesting building on campus, and there's a room in there called the Lexmark Room that I use twice a year for my major talks. So I've gotten to see a lot of different sides of the main building.
Do you think the history of a building is important to know?
Yeah, I think it helps you kind of color when you walk into a building, knowing, I like history, so it's neat for me to know that there was the president's office at one point, the different kind of people that have had offices in there and what it serves. Plus, if you know that going in, for a programming perspective, when I'm trying to think of where a neat place to have a program would be, I know that this would be a nice one to take students because the programming space is quite nice, underutilized, meaning it's not as busy as like the classroom building, and also, students always tell me they've never been in that building, and so it's cool for them to see the inside of a new building.
I totally agree. What do you think the cannon on the front lawn represents?
I heard somebody very smart one time say it had to do with the Spanish-American War, but beyond that, I would just assume it's some kind of might, power. Cannons are kind of interesting for statue.
What kind of history do you know about the main building?
Within the 3 years I've been here, it's been like the central point on campus. It's a very nice building. Having worked in admissions at EKU, I look at it as that information center, sort of in the center of campus. And Taylor, the person who's in charge of it, just came to my class and talked about how if you answer those phones, if you're at that front desk, be prepared to give directions and Google things. I would imagine it's always sort of served as a central place. People walking in that visitor parking garage are routed directly pretty much to the front or back door, whichever way you're looking at it. Also know there's some higher up offices in there, and the Office for Institutional Diversity is on the 3rd floor. So we've had some conferences and things up on those floors. So I imagine it's always been, I think at one point the president had his office in that building. It's always been a fancy office. You can tell there's not a basic anything to it. Even the restrooms are wood and very swanky and nice.
Yeah, that's something I noticed when I was walking through there. What Mr. Fash just explained is important because students need to know these resources. It might make their lives less stressful throughout college. Can you explain some of the differences between the main building and where you work at?
Sure. I would imagine our building is quite a bit older, just looking at the architecture and looking at the way they've done things. From the outside in, we could renovate the inside of this building, but you wouldn't change the age of the brick, things like that. Hallways over there, I don't want to say ours is not super well kept, but we don't even have bathrooms in our hallways, and clearly they have, like I said, nice bathrooms in that little campus visit room. I know in the future the campus visit room will actually be in the student center, so 6 months from now they'll have to use that whole basement first level for something different, because that's currently pretty much what that space is used for. So it'll be interesting. I think Taylor mentioned classrooms or professor lectures, or it'll be interesting to see who moves in there next.
They currently have some classrooms in there also.
Oh, excellent.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Fass explained how the main building has been newly updated. This shows they updated but tried keeping the same look to continue to show its history. What are some special characteristics of the main building?
Again, I'm going to pull back to, the Lexmark room, which is on the second floor, third level as you go in, 209, it'll hold, I think, 105, 110 people theoretically for a lecture, like a seated thing. I've had take the lead diversity conference partially in there. Yeah, we had the luncheon portion and this keynote, and we did roundtables, and that held 75 to 80. So that was a perfect fit for that.
What are some reasons why the main building is important?
Again, I think it serves as that welcome spot as you walk onto campus. It's kind of a one-stop shop as far as if you are lost or if you don't know how to go about something and you're visiting campus. You know, it definitely screams visitor. You know, all the flags in that little patio area and seeing all the tours leave from that point. I think it reminds us all that nothing against like factories and different types of works and jobs, but like people are coming here to learn things and to potentially make this their home. And so in admissions, you're faced with every day somebody's coming and sort of shopping. So your job is not necessarily like doing the same thing. It's producing something that other people are going to feel comfortable, and you got to kind of change it up based on what people are asking and how people are perceiving you. So I imagine they keep it in tip-top shape to kind of not show that UK is in any way falling apart or behind or letting anything go.
Like the bathrooms.
The bathrooms
exactly. Are really nice.
They smell nice, yeah.
Do you think the students at the University of Kentucky should know the purpose of the main building? And can you explain why you think that?
Sure, yeah. Given that we're taking tours straight out of that building, hopefully the students have been on campus at one point to have their own tour. And so they've seen that building and been like, oh, that's where I left for my tour. I don't want to say be on your best behavior, but as a hall director, twice I've had the showroom, which is the residence hall room where they'll actually let parents and students kind of go in and see what a typical average room is like. So we've always had to be on our resident assistants and just the students in general say, hey, at 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock, people are going to come in our lobby, keep profanity down, let's not do anything to embarrass ourselves. People's grandmas are going to be in here, people's like little sisters, little brothers, act accordingly. So I think if students know this is where tours kind of come and go, hopefully that'll make them, I don't say prideful, but it'll make them feel like, oh, I'm in an important place. People are here to want what I have, and hopefully they'll kind of own that a little bit. Because I think it made my students a little prouder in the sense that what's just everyday normal to them is special to somebody who's visiting.
Because they are representing their school.
Absolutely. Nobody wants to go somewhere that looks like it's a sinking ship or that is not any good place to be.
Last and final question. What is something that all students should know about the main building?
That is a welcome space. I think it is very fancy, and walking in, I had signs telling students to yes, my major talk is upstairs, and then the admission staff is obviously very friendly, but I think the Office for Institutional Diversity would love more student traffic on the third floor. If you have any kind of diverse issue, and that could be defined as any kind of thing that you're feeling, go to that office, even though you got leather couches, you've got mahogany books, and it smells of rich tastes. It's still a building for you guys, and that, a meeting there, while fancier than any other place, at the end of the day, the person who's working there is still going to answer any question you have, going to kind of be helpful for you. So obviously put your best foot forward, but don't be afraid to ask questions or be afraid to be you in that space, because I don't want anybody coming and asking a very meek question that's not really what they want, but then when they get their answer and they're like, I think that's good enough, I'm just going to leave it, I'd rather them ask and still kind of enjoy it. Same thing goes for professionals. I think we're loath to use it just because of the power that's over there.
Yeah.
But the Lexmark room is fancy and nice, so I recommend talking to Rodney about reserving it. If it's open, he's fine to let you use it.
And on any given day, you can see the president of the university.
Absolutely. Does he still have an office?
Yeah,
in that
it's
building?
still there on the third floor.
How about that?
Or second floor, actually.
So there you go. I learned 3 things from you today, Mo. I appreciate it.
The history of the main building dates back all the way to February 15th, 1882, the day it first opened. This building is the last standing building that was originally built for State University. State University was a university that originated before the University of Kentucky, but later on it was renamed to the University of Kentucky. The importance of the main building is the history that comes with the building, from the interior walls to the exterior bricks. An interesting fact, it is the oldest building on campus, and it is also the last remaining building that was formed during State University, still standing. An important day that marked the main building forever was May 15, 2001. This day changed the main building forever. This day was the day the main building had caught on fire and had destroyed UK's oldest building. Bystanders said that the flames of the fire were so hot that they could feel it from 100 yards away. The flames soared through the roof and made its way through all offices, including President Charles T. Wethington Jr. office, who was the current president at the time. An interesting quote taken from Administration Building said, "The compelling and reminded everyone that UK's history is both proud and fleeting and must be preserved with great commitment and care." This saying means a lot because it shows that the history of UK is really important, but that history is starting to slowly wind down. The less we take care of the fascinating and historic places, the less there will be in the future. The fire helped spark something to the people and made them realize we need to start taking care of our historic places. The article also said 72 hours after the fire, they went into the building to find any historic documents that might have survived the fire. Whatever documents that were found were sent straight to Chicago to a drying company. This company helped salvage whatever was left from the main building, trying to save any historic object they could. All great buildings have a creator. This magnificent building was created by H.P. MacDonald in 1882. According to Beck Riddle, it was built with brick and stone for a grand total of $81,000. The cupola is a tower that contained a clock inside of it, which could be seen from the outside of the building and from a distance since it was so tall. The cupola used to be called the Captain's Walk. The cupola was so tall that it was used for local weather observatory and was later removed in 1897 for some unknown reason. All these facts are important because this is what made up the building. Without this, the main building may never have been formed. Kentuckian explains the background of the cannon and what it was used for. The cannon was used in the Spanish-American War. They used to fire it after Wildcats would win a game. It also been said that students filled the cannon with manure and aimed it at the front door of the main building for a prank. The cannon was brought to UK after the war and put on the front lawn. It is also one of thousands that were made and shipped over to the battlefield. The cannon was later cemented in place and has been like that for several decades. There is also an engraving on the cannon, but is hard to translate since time has taken its hit on the words. But the circle says Spanish Trophy Federalista received from the United States War Department by City of Lexington, June 18, 1900. Transferred to State College of Kentucky, May 19, 1903, through Mayor Henry T. Duncan. This saying is important because it gives meaning to the cannon. The main building is a magnificent place, and I hope you go and check it out. Until next time, Big Blue Podcast out.